like and subscribe. Like and subscribe so that you will know whenever a new video is uploaded.
As a spiritual teacher and mentor, my desire is not to lead you to any religion, but to lead you to yourself. And there you will find all things, including that which some interpret as God. Welcome to my channel.
Hello and welcome to B. Jamel Broadnax and Unlocking the God in You. I'm so happy that you found this channel, and I hope that this channel becomes an important part, an essential part, at least a helpful part of your journey to enlightenment. So welcome. I'm going to be sharing with you some great information that's going to help you and be light in your path today. So today, in just a moment, I'm going to be right back and I'm going to talk to you about divinity being your identity. So today is part one of a series of discussions that I'm going to have about divinity being your identity. And today we're going to talk about taking your power back. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Hi, this is B. Jamel Broadnax, and I want to thank you for staying with me. So today I want to talk to you about taking your power back. Listen, one of the greatest problems with mankind is that man really does not know who he really is. Listen, there is a part of you that is you and that is inside of you that is constantly waiting and anticipating that you would discover that real essence that is you. Did you hear what I said? It actually is you. So you know who the you is that's been waiting to meet you all of its life or all of your life. It is you. You are the person. Watch this. You are the person that you've been waiting to meet all of your life. You've been searching and searching, trying to, quote unquote, find yourself. You tried to find yourself in various habits, various fraternities, organizations, and religion, even in the church. But you will never find what it is that your soul is really searching for until you find you. Who are you? You are the God in you. You must find your true identity, and your true identity, believe it or not, is divinity. Will you say this with me? Will you say divinity is my identity? Don't be afraid to say it. It's not blasphemy. Divinity is my identity. Okay? And once you realize that, oh man, all things will change. Not just saying it, but once you realize it, how do you realize it? You feel it. You become one with it in your soul, deep within. But the huge problem, and I believe the biggest problem for mankind, is that man does not know who he really is. So basically, guys, you are God. And I know that's hard to say. I know for some people, if you're like me, you come from a religious background, it's like, ooh, that makes me a little uncomfortable. But let me say something to those who are Bible readers. Now, the Bible is not the God for my life. I refer to the Bible because that's my history. That's where I come from. I do a lot of my teachings from a biblical, well, not a biblical viewpoint, but using the Bible as a reference point. Because although I don't live by the Bible, I do believe that it's a great book, okay? It's just not a great guide, all right? But it is a great book, but when you understand it, or if you can view it from an allegorical perspective, I believe that this man, Jesus, okay, I believe what he really came to do is he came to remind us of who we really were. Because you came here as God, as a God being, but the earth experience caused you to forget who you really, really were. Your start, guys, did not start on this earth. You are an eternal being, okay? You are a forever being. You understand what I'm saying here? So when I say you start, I'm not talking about your birth through the human or the female birth canal. That's not what I'm talking about when I say that. Your beginning was with God, or with that which we interpret as God. What I believe is the divine energy, okay? And I believe that is the divine energy that causes all things to exist. So you start out with God and as God. And what happens is, if you read or if you believe the Genesis story, which I don't believe it as a literal story, but I do see it as an allegorical story that shows us who we really are. So it says that in the beginning, it says that God formed man out of the dust of the earth. Now, for me, allegorically or metaphorically, what that really shows us is the allegory points to the fact. See, allegories are pretty much just like what Jesus taught, okay? Jesus taught in what? Parables. What is a parable? A parable is a made-up story that has a real meaning, okay? This is what I believe about Genesis. It's a made-up story, but it points to a real meaning. So it says, God formed, or that which we interpret as God, but it says God formed man out of the dust of the earth. He formed him from the earth. What this shows me is it shows us our connection to the earth. I know when I went to the beach, the last time I went, I go all the time, but the last time I went to the beach, no, time before last, I went out at night. I put my beach chair down, and I just sat out there all by myself. And I put my feet on the ground, and I felt such a connection to all that was around me. With my feet grounded, I felt my connection to the earth, to the dirt. The wind was blowing. I felt my connection to the wind, and I could hear the water. I felt my connection to the water. So we are connected to the earth. And that's what I believe the allegory points out when it says God formed man out of the dust of the ground. But let me get to my point, because I want to keep this at about 15 to 20 minutes. So the narrative says, or the allegory says, that God created man from the dust of the ground. And then it says, and God breathed into man the breath of life, and man became a living soul. All right. So what was it that God released into man? All right. It says, and God breathed the breath of life into the earth, or into the earth man, into the man that was connected to earth. God breathed into his body the breath of life. That word breath comes from a Hebrew word, neshama. What does neshama mean? Neshama means wind, that's significant of the blowing. But watch this. That word neshama means spirit. So what is this allegory saying? It's saying man is connected to earth, and what causes man to become a living soul is the fact that Neshama is inside of man. Spirit. Neshama means spirit. So God breathed or blew into man or placed into man spirit. And when he placed spirit into man, man became animate or animated, and man became a living soul. So what made you a living soul? Spirit. Okay. What is spirit? Spirit is energy. But if we look at the hints and the clues that I believe are metaphorically or metaphysically there in the Bible, what does the Bible say about God? Watch this. It says God is a spirit. Okay, but watch this. Let's go a step further. Not only does it say that God is a spirit, but if you look in Ephesians chapter 4, it says, watch this, guys. This gets me excited. It says that there is only one spirit. Wow. It says there's only one spirit. So if God is a spirit, then God is that one spirit. So what was it that God breathed? What was the neshama? What was the spirit that God breathed into the body that made man become a living soul? It was God himself. Neshama, spirit, the only spirit, which is that which we interpret as God. So here we go. Trying to give you the short version here. So God, in other words, if we were to take what we've just learned here, okay, that the word breath comes from the word neshama, and we've also learned that neshama means spirit, and we've learned that God is a spirit and that there's only one spirit, then what this means, guys, if we look at this another way, the allegory is telling us that God breathed God into a body and man became a living soul. So if you were to take off this earth suit, all that would remain would be God. You are God. And today I want to tell you to take your God power back. Somewhere along the line, through social conditioning, through religious conditioning, through just being alive in this world, through social conditioning, guys, you forgot who you really are. And let me say this, religion, not just Christianity, guys, but religion does a damn good job of keeping you in a place of amnesia where you never ever regain your knowledge of who you really are. Although, even in the Bible, guys, I believe that some of these guys, such as Paul, if the narrative be true, I believe they were trying to throw us hints along the way, but because religion and the church came along in order to control you, they interpreted the scriptures in a literal way instead of an allegorical way or a metaphorical or metaphysical way, so that they can keep you under their thumb, under their hand, and to keep you controlled and not allow you to realize who you really are. Because even Paul says in Romans chapter 12, I believe it is. If I'm wrong, then you can look it up. But I'm pretty certain in Romans chapter 12, he says, don't be conformed or don't become like this world. Remember, you came into this world, okay? And he says, don't become like this world. And you got to understand the world at that time was pretty much religious and controlled by religious people. But Paul says, don't be like this world. Do not be conformed to this world, but be, watch this, transformed, watch this, by the renewing of your mind. What does renewing mean? It means the reknowing. To re-know, to know again. You can't re-know something that you didn't know before. Okay? So you got to understand the spirit that you are the God that you are, the Spirit knows everything. You know absolutely everything there is to know. You just forgot it. Okay? So you are transformed by re-knowing, by rediscovering. All right, man, I gotta finish this. So we did the journey through Genesis, and we understand that you start out, okay? You start out with God, and you start out as God, because God took a part of himself, Neshama. He took a part of himself and he put it in a body. He placed it in a body. Listen to this, guys. I heard a person say this a long time ago. One drop from the ocean is still the ocean. I'm going to add to that. One drop of God is still God. If you go to the beach and you go to the ocean, and I've got a cup sitting here, and I take this cup and I scoop up a little bit of the ocean, okay? I live in North Carolina. The closest beach to me is probably, my favorite beach is probably Myrtle Beach. It's about 3.5 hours away. So if I take this cup and I go down to Myrtle Beach and I scoop up some of the ocean and I bring it back to North Carolina, guess what? It's still the ocean. The only thing that has happened is I scooped up some of the ocean, or I took some of the ocean and I put it in a cup and I took it home. So guess what? All I did is I took the ocean and I placed it in a different location. But guess what? It's still the ocean. So what God did is he took himself, God took God, put it in a body, put it in another location, the garden, which symbolizes earth. But what we have, just like I've got now the ocean at home, now we've got God in the earth. Wow. We've got God on earth. So here's what's happening, guys. You are God experiencing the earth as Jamel, as Lori, as Jamaica, as John, as Linda, as Suzanne, as whoever you are. You are God experiencing the earth as a black man. You are God experiencing the earth as a white man. You are God experiencing the earth as an Asian lady. You are God, watch this, experiencing the earth as a heterosexual man. You are God experiencing the earth as a gay man. You are God experiencing the earth as a bisexual lady. You are God experiencing the earth as a lesbian. Listen, it's all God. It's all simply different expressions of the God experience. Whew, are you hearing me? Is this good to you as it is to me? It's all different expressions of the God experience. But here's what happened. And I think Genesis again gives a great description of what actually happened. It tells us about the deception that took place in the garden. Okay? So Genesis details this deception that took place and caused mankind to lose his identity. That's not a literal story. There was no talking snake. Otherwise, there would still be talking snakes today, because that scripture does not say that God cursed the snake so that he would no longer talk. No, it says he cursed the snake to crawl on his belly. So snakes should still be talking if it was a real story. But it's not a real story, guys. It is an allegory. So there's no talking snake. But what this story does do, it gives us a great picture of a deception that's still taking place today. Guys, we've been listening to a lot of talking snakes in our world, in society, and especially in church, especially in religion. We've been listening to a lot of talking snakes, and they have deceived us. We listen to something other than ourselves, other than what's within us, which is God. But we're listening to those outside of us, and I call them talking snakes. So we've listened to a lot of talking snakes that have caused us to lose and not even embrace our true identity. In the beginning, God says, according to the narrative and the allegory, it says that God looked at man that he had made and looked at everything that he made and said, it is good. Not just good, but he said, it's very good. What does that mean? There is nothing wrong with me. There was never anything wrong with you. But religion, the law of Moses, and all of these other things, all of these other teachings, they cause you to accept a sin doctrine and to believe that there's something wrong with you. So that's why Jesus, according to the narrative, had to come and kind of reteach. And if you notice, his teaching totally contradicts a lot of that teaching of Moses. We're not here for that today. But understand, there was nothing wrong with you ever. You're not a sinner that needs to be saved, and you're not a sinner saved by grace. There was nothing wrong with you ever, because the narrative says, the allegory says that God looked at what he made and he said that it is not just good, but very good. All right. So I'm very good. There was never anything wrong with me. There was never anything bad about me. Okay. I was good. But the allegory shows by looking at that talking snake, the symbolism there, it shows how man becomes brainwashed. Okay. And he becomes brainwashed into thinking that he's not okay and that there's something wrong with him and that he needs something else besides himself to make him like God. It's made, or the allegory points to the fact of how man becomes brainwashed into believing that he needs to do something else besides just be in order to be like God. All you have to do to be like God is simply be, because you are God. You are an expression of God in the earth. You are a unique expression of the God experience. And the most detrimental thing that has happened in this earth realm is that man has forgotten who he is. Man does not know who he is. You are God. You are God in the earth. And today I want to say to you, it is time for you to take your power back. What is that power? That power is your God power. Take your power back. You came here as God. You always were God. God, Neshama, spirit, put God in a body, and man and the body became a living soul. So God is your very existence. You are God. Today, I want you to take your power back. What is that power? The power that you really are. The power that you really are is God. I want you to take back the fact, the knowledge that divinity is your identity. Who you really are is the very thing that made you a living soul, the very thing that gave you existence, that gave you animation, and that thing is Neshama. Neshama is spirit. God is a spirit. Neshama is what caused your body to come alive. Again, if you take off this earth suit, all you will see is Neshama, which is God. Take your power back. You are God, not little g, as Christians like to kind of say to you that, oh yeah, I'm God, but I'm little g. He's big G. No, you are what God is. All that God is, you are. For God took God, put God in a body, and you became a living soul. So understand, you were created in the image of God. You were made in the likeness of God. You're not just made by God, but you are made with God. What am I saying, guys? And I'm going to stop here. But you were made as God. Neshama. Everything that you are is God substance. And everything that God is what you are. And today, I want to stir up your memory. I want to help you recover from amnesia. And I want to help you to take your power back. Okay? The earth experience calls you to forget who you are. Social conditioning and religious conditioning calls you to forget who you are. But today, I want to take you through step one of getting your power back. You are God in the earth. You are a part of the God experience. You're a unique expression of God. There is nothing wrong with you, because if there's something wrong with you, there's something wrong with God, because all that God is, you are. All that which we interpret as God is he, she, or it, you are. Do you hear me today? Take your power back. Take your power back. I'm going to close with this saying. This comes out of the Bible as well. Again, I use the Bible a lot as a reference point. But Ephesians 3:20 says, He is able to do, God is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that you can ask or think, according to the power that works in you. So it's not God doing it outside of you or without you. According to that scripture, he does it according or with the power that works in you. What is the power that works in you? The power that works in you is God. It is who you are. Take your power back. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope that something today has been said that has been a source of enlightenment or even a source of encouragement for you on your journey, your awakening journey. I'll see you next time.